All right, day two. Just coming to you live from Prescott, Arizona. Yesterday, I tried to introduce myself a little bit. I was going to try and do the podcast outside tonight, but it is definitely lightning out and hailing and stuff like that. So you might hear a little bit of that in the background. But part of what I wanted to do is talk about how I ended up living in Prescott, how I ended up, and so what happened was we lived last winter in Minnesota, and winter in Minnesota ended up starting in late October. It started getting below zero, and ended up ending. I drove through Minneapolis the end of last April, so almost May, and it was shut down, and it was just a nightmare in terms of stuff. So that's the way it goes with Minnesota. But we started getting kind of tired of living there, and thought it'd be time for a change. So kind of been in the last 6 months been looking for different places to travel to and check out, and we are lucky enough to have a camper. um, it's like an 18-foot zoom, and you can see the camper is there's not a whole lot to it. There's the bed, there's a little bit of a bathroom and kitchen, so there's not much to the camper, but we'd used it for weekend camping trips in the past, and excuse me, thought it would be kind of a fun thing to I don't know, try and live in instead of having to get an apartment while we were scouting out different places for our family that were warmer, and just to change from Minnesota. My family and I grew up in Minnesota. We wanted to see about going someplace new, so um, I set out looking for different places. I ended up knowing quite a bit about the Phoenix area and quite a bit about the Las Vegas area because we had traveled there to visit family in the past. And there's a lot of cheap flights on Allegiant Airlines between Minnesota and those destinations because of snowbirds and stuff like that. So the first place I ended up going was I loaded this up, or excuse me, no, before that, I ended up taking my tent and sleeping bag and made it all the way down to Las Vegas, and stayed there in Henderson and a couple different places. Ended up getting into some sketchy situations, tent camping in the Las Vegas area, as you might imagine. But it was nice. I mean, that was last April. We're in August now, so that was a while back. But it didn't end up being what I thought of as a place that I necessarily wanted to live. There's some beautiful areas in Vegas, but something about Las Vegas, I think I associate it with always going there for bachelor parties or going to gamble and stuff like that, and it just doesn't have the appeal to me that a place. It's a nice place to visit. I just don't know if I'd want to live there. So I checked that out, and like I said, there's some sketchy situations. Somebody got shot in a campground next to me in a tent that was like two places over. So I just got tired of worrying about that stuff. And then tent camping is what it is, but it's not the best when you're 42 years old like I am. So I'll just leave it at that. Then I went back up north, got the camper and pulled that down, and should have known by then, but I spent about a week in Henderson outside of Las Vegas before heading down here into the Prescott area of Arizona. What I like about Prescott is after being in Las Vegas area or Phoenix area for a while, I like Phoenix a lot better than Las Vegas, but Phoenix, when it gets up to 120, it's a tough thing, especially in a camper or a tent. So northern Arizona ends up being a lot more moderate. It's raining again here during the monsoons, July and August, and just a much more moderate climate. I like the mountains. People around here are really friendly. It's just a nice place to be. So ended up staying here, and I'm camping here. Kind of shortage of rentals and places here. It seems like a growing area, but I was lucky enough to find a camping spot at the in Chino Valley, which is just north of Prescott, and been here for the last 2 or 3 months. Had some family come down and check it out, and they really liked it too. And yeah, that's how I ended up living near my camper. And it's nice to have a camper because you can explore different locations without having to commit to moving there, signing a lease, and all the fun paperwork and bureaucracy that goes along with all the pencil pushing occupations and bullshit that we deal with in modern society. It's nice to have a camper because it's month to month. I'm paying $400 for rent. That includes cable, electricity. I got a parking spot, a little yard where I can grow tomatoes and stuff like that. Storage shed for my golf clubs. But it's nice to be able to have a place that you can stay at. And then if you decide after 2 or 3 months that you don't want to be there anymore, you can hook up to your camper and take off again. And I would really recommend it for people looking to relocate, because one thing that we've found as a family is we'll talk about relocating, and we talked about it for years, but it was tough to get jobs when we were still living in Minnesota and looking in Arizona or Las Vegas, Nevada, or any place, Florida, out of state. It was tough to find a job when you're not living in the area, even this day and age. Our professions, mine has just been all over the place, but my background is in education mainly, but I've had hundreds of different jobs, part of which I'm going to talk about in my future podcast. But my wife is worked in nonprofits, has worked in nonprofits for a long time. And so it's a little bit different for us. We aren't corporate people. We aren't business people. We don't work for large companies that will relocate us and fly us everywhere. And I'm not complaining. That's just the choices we've made. And it's a little bit difficult to relocate. Every situation is different. And so what we decided to do was to scout it out. And, the perfect vehicle for that has been this camper. And so far, so good. Like this area. I'm guessing somebody here was telling me that Prescott has really, really cold winters. And then they asked where I was from. And I told them I was born and raised in Minnesota. And they're like, oh, shit, fuck that. There's no such thing as cold winters in Prescott. Like, you won't have any problems with the winters here. So I'm guessing that the winters are pretty nice, which I'm looking forward to. The summer here has been beautiful. Lots of sunshine, lots of rain. There is a lot of farms and cattle around here, and a lot of things that just grow in this area because there's water, access to water. There's a large aquifer under at least Chino Valley in the Prescott area. But there's also, there's also a lot of sunshine. I think it has, it's way over 300 days of sunshine a year. It is at 5,000 feet, which is taking a little bit adjusting for a lowlander like me from Minnesota. But overall, it's been going pretty well. And I'll try and keep you updated on how things are going. But just wanted to check in today and tell you a little bit about how I ended up in Prescott and, why I'm down here. I guess the main thing is we're just looking for jobs and looking for ways to relocate. So if you're interested in following along, I'm going to try and do some videos of the hikes in the area and just some of the hotspots to check out when you're in this area. It's about a half hour from Sedona and really close to, Camp Verde, Cottonwood, that kind of stuff. Northern Arizona spots are close. Flagstaff's pretty close where NAU is, so that's about an hour away. And then it's less than 2 hours on I-17 down to the Phoenix metro area too, which is going to be nice for the winter time. And I fly out of Phoenix a lot on Allegiant. Can't say enough good things about them. My upcoming flight is going to be $150, everything round trip back to Minnesota. And that makes it really nice. And that's another part that I just love about this part of Arizona is it's accessible, but you still feel like you're not in a metro area. It's easy to get out into the mountains or, out into this area and just enjoy the pine trees and the lakes and everything that Prescott has to offer. So far, so good. I'm a big fan and had some family come up here and visit, and they were just blown away that this was still Arizona. It just doesn't really look like Arizona. It's really beautiful country, unbelievable sunsets, lots of wildlife, antelope, seen a lot of antelope, a lot of deer, seen a bear, lots of different, animals around here. We have javelinas that come through this park and stuff, wild pigs. Saw a roadrunner right outside here, and it's nice, but there's, you don't see a ton of snakes or anything like that like you might in desert areas. So I think Prescott's a nice fit. All of Arizona and, northern New Mexico too, I found to be beautiful in my travels out in that area too. But I'm a big fan of this area. It's mountains, sunshine. I like the rivers, and there's some little lakes, and it's just a more moderate climate. Like, this summer it's been in the 90s, lots of sunshine. The hottest it gets is about 100 degrees since I've been here, but just a great place. And if nothing else, I'll keep you posted on how it's going, and just wanted to say hi and welcome to all my fans from Prescott, Arizona. So keep checking it out. Let me know what you think and stay good. All right. Talk to you later.